Tonight's top guest is a candidate for governor of Massachusetts on the Democratic side. She's been busy this week taking stands on a bunch of issues that will be debated in the 2014 campaign. I'm joined by Kayyem. She's a Democrat, served as Massachusetts' first Undersecretary for Homeland Security, and recently was a columnist for the Boston Globe. Juliet, it's good to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk current news for a second. As someone who ran a department of government, you wake up, you read that visits were not made as were required to the house of a little 5-year-old boy and his siblings. Jeremiah Oliver. And he is missing, presumed dead. One social worker who didn't make the visit has been fired. The supervisor of that social worker has been fired. You're the governor, and you learn of these things. What's the first thing you do?
I'm a mother first. So, I mean, and my son's name is Jeremiah. So this is, it's unacceptable. I mean, period. We don't lose children. We just don't. As a society, as a state, people will be held responsible, period. And that's the way you have to govern. But I think everyone is feeling this as parents, as it just should not happen.
The governor said, well, he is sympathetic, the current governor said, well, he's sympathetic to the claims of the union that, in this case, that there are caseload issues. Right. He said it has absolutely nothing to do with this situation. This situation, if she couldn't make the visit, they couldn't make the visit, they should have made it known. Right. Are caseload issues, and apparently the caseloads of most social workers are out of control, are they relevant to this discussion? Should these people have been fired summarily as they were, with no hearings, no nothing?
Yes, I think it's true. I think you just have to make a statement that it's just unacceptable, no matter how many excuses. Workload is not an excuse. It looks like there was actually clear evidence that something was going on in this house. If you can't make it, you have to tell your supervisor. So I think it's clear that there was a dereliction of duty. We don't lose children. I mean, it's just as basic as that.
Okay, let's talk about something where the consequences are serious, but not nearly so serious. Casinos. I don't know if I've ever asked you before. Where were you on the whole concept when the governor signed this thing, up to 3 casinos and a slots parlor? Where were you in this?
I supported it. I think it's very difficult for states to generate revenue, especially at the beginning of a recession. I thought that the way the legislation was written was about as good as any state has demanded of a casino industry, 3 only, different parts of the state with community involvement. And, you know, look, there's only so much taxing you can do. 30+ states have casinos. So it's not like Massachusetts is out there. And so I think we just sort of joined what other states recognize, which is we have to generate revenue somehow during this recession.
The guy you hope to run against, Charlie Baker, said when he ran against Deval Patrick the first time, last time, we should have 1 casino. Let's have 1 casino. Let's see how it goes. If it's a disaster, we're stuck with 1. Right. If it's great, then maybe we do 2 and 3. Wouldn't that be a far better option than the current law we have?
Well, I mean, we're going to have 1, then 2, then 3. It seems like you probably actually want to create legislation which gives one part or another part of the state the chance to be first.
So that's not the way the law is right now.
No, it's 3.
Are you satisfied with the way the law? They can give up to 3 right now.
And absolutely, and any sort of lobbying going on to try to change the law, I would summarily dismiss. I think the law is very, very tough as compared to other states, certainly.
The chair of the Gaming Commission was sitting there last week, Steve Crosby, has recused himself from voting on the land deal in Everett, which is one of the sites. The people in Everett voted, I think, 86.5% in favor. There may be a Revere bid. It's unclear. We won't know until February. He recused himself from the land deal because of a business dealing he had 20+ years ago with one of the co-owners of the Everett deal, because of appearances. He said there was no technical conflict, and the Ethics Commission agreed. But he distinguishes between that and voting on the final decision as to who gets the Eastern Massachusetts casino. If he recuses himself on the land deal, why should he not recuse himself on the whole Eastern Massachusetts deal, or should he?
This is where I would like the commission to decide the recusal decision, as well as possible legal litigation. And the reason why is, first of all, it is so technical that standing on the outside, the appearance of any sort of conflict is a big deal. And I think he was right to recuse himself, because that was an appearance of conflict.
But should he recuse himself from the whole Eastern Massachusetts?
Probably not.
Why
at
not?
This
What's
stage.
the difference?
I'm going to wait for the commission to decide what the difference is. But look, if I become governor, I could inherit Crosby and the commission. So I want to be super careful about making decisions about it. Look, the appearance of a conflict is a big deal, especially in an industry like casinos, where all sorts of people play and may not be on the up and up. So I actually support him recusing himself. But if the decision is made that he does not need to recuse himself from Western Mass, then I'd agree with that.
Eastern Mass.
Eastern Mass, excuse me.
I know what you're. Let's talk about your Homeland Security background.
Yes.
People, beyond being the head in Massachusetts and working in Obama's Homeland Security, people saw you almost every night on CNN after April 15th and that horror show there. Governor Patrick has said repeatedly, including to me, he's satisfied with the amount of information we have gotten from the FBI and law enforcement authorities about what happened before. Martha Coakley was asked by the ACLU to lead an investigation into what happened in that apartment in Orlando where a guy by the name of Todashev, allegedly, according to the FBI, was about to sign an admission that he and the older Tsarnaev brother were responsible for an unsolved triple murder in Waltham. She said she's not going to conduct that investigation. Do you agree with Patrick that things are fine? Do you agree with Coakley that she shouldn't conduct an independent investigation?
Well, I actually believe that there is a lot to learn, and I don't know enough because I'm on the outside. So I have been pushing for an independent review of both the intelligence as well as what happened in Florida. But
so the
most
Attorney General
importantly,
should have decided
and I think that the Attorney General in Florida is pursuing that. We had 2 state troopers there. We should actually do that. And then I think the most important thing is, as I often say, is we will not be the only city that experiences something like this. I don't mean to sound fatalistic, but if we want to reduce the risk for ourselves and others, there's a lot to learn about intelligence sharing, but also how do we respond, how do first responders deal with that moment plus the week ahead. So, look, I always say I believe in government and its capacity to do good, but I believe it can always get better. And I think you just have to have that attitude and be optimistic of that government can reform.
As a private citizen, I know you don't have access to the same information that either Coakley or Deval Patrick does. Do you entertain the possibility that if all law enforcement had done its job properly on the federal and local level prior to April 15th, that this might have been preventable?
No. I mean, I think the woulda, coulda, shoulda is really easy, and I don't do it. And the other reason is the blinding clarity of 2020 vision of looking back it looks so obvious to us now. Anyone who's been in those situations of both crisis management as well as just trying to make government work knows that at the moment it isn't obvious. And so I don't. It's not that I don't care. It's just that what I want to learn from it is, could we do better next time? Understanding that nothing's perfect. I don't mean to sound, and I think most people get that. We just want to learn and get better.
Let's talk about a different kind of terror. Most people don't see this as terror. If you speak to a mother in Dorchester, Roxbury, or Mattapan who lost a child who can't afford to bury them, they consider that terror. You came out with a criminal justice plan. All I can deal with is the Cliff Notes version right now.
I'm sorry.
What do you deal with? No, it was the criticism.
Jim, it's only 5 pages.
I got through one. Juliet, what do you do in a real way about urban violence in particular?
Well, there's a number of things. So criminal justice reform is a huge part of my plan that I want the Democrats to discuss, as well as climate change and climate change adaptation. The reason why is it's broken, and very rarely in public policy and public issues can you have better policies that are less expensive and that are better for people and your community. And reforming criminal justice is one of them. We can reduce recidivism, commit less funds if we put fewer kids into jail, right, and get them the services they need beforehand, and that includes education after school, and then integrate people who have already served better into society. Massachusetts, we are great, and I'm running for governor. That's why I think we're great. But this is an issue in which we can learn from other states that are doing this better than us. And so I am receptive to what can I learn from others. And I'll tell you, if we can keep kids out of jail for nonviolent crimes, the link between kids who have served time for nonviolent crimes and then them later becoming very violent is a direct link. So if we can get them out of the system at the get-go, we're a better society for it.
2 people in recent times whose judgment I respect, even though they're not always right, have said on my radio show with Marjorie Egan that you're the nominee of the Democratic Party. God. Peter Kadzis, now at WGBH with me, former editor of the Boston Phoenix, Alex Beam, a columnist for the Boston Globe, both said that. Most recent poll I saw, Martha Coakley 57, Steve Grossman 10, the other 3 of you 2 or 3. What's happened since last time I saw you that would cause an average person in the state to think you have a realistic chance of winning this primary?
So all I think about is, am I out there talking to people about what I can provide to the state, my background in Homeland Security and preparing the state for the challenges ahead, whether they're economic or climate change adaptation. That's all I can do. Look, they will turn on me in a heartbeat. You know, I mean, I've been around long enough. I think the one thing that is different is Democrats are excited for a race, and that is good for someone like me. In other words, they're not closing rank behind two very well known candidates, the Treasurer and the Attorney General, and that means that people like me can be out there talking. I represent a sort of, you know, a new leadership. I've been in government, but I haven't been in politics, which is often appealing to voters. And I'm working really hard. I mean, I am out a lot and raising money and building a field apparatus for the caucuses.
I only have 30 seconds left. The arcane laws of the state, you require 15% of the people
delegates
who come to a convention in June to vote for you to even be allowed in the primary ballot. How confident are you in December that you'll get that 15%, honestly?
In February?
Right now. Well, the caucus votes are in February.
We're on a good trajectory, and that's all I look at. It's the background noise of what people think about what I can do. If I get 15, look, all I say to Democrats is get me on the ballot, and I hope to take it from there.
You actually look like you're having fun. Is that true? Raise your right hand and say you're having fun.
Having fun. Look, if I'm not having fun, it's not like this is easy. This is for someone like me. And yes, that's right.
Let's not talk about that. Goodbye, Juliet Kayyem. It's great to see you. Be well.
Bye.
What's your website?
Juliet Kayyem, KAYYEM.com. You'll read about criminal justice, climate change adaptation,
Love
veterans.
That. Terrific.
Thank you.
Go to our website.